Welcome to the big show. This is Investing with Confidence. I am your host, as always, Joshua David, and we're happy to have you with us today. As always, on this great Saturday morning here in Bloomington. Al, how the heck are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. I feel great. How about you, Josh?
I'm feeling good. You look good too in your purple shirt, no blue shirt today.
No, I'm styling today.
Styling and profiling, as my good friend Ric Flair would say. It's always great to be back, helping our listeners make better investing decisions. Al, we have a jam-packed show today. We had a great week of the markets. If people are missing out on these markets, there is something wrong. We had a nice down about 1% week in the major markets this week, which is a great thing for people that are using the markets in down markets. We'll talk about some of that stuff here today.
We will.
A lot of stuff going on with the market. We're going to cover all that. Tune in to the end of the show. We're going to do the OTA tip of the week. But before we do all that, Al, what are you do a lot of different things here at Online Trading Academy to help people make better investing decisions, whether they're in their working years and during retirement years. And Online Trading Academy, the sponsor of Investing with Confidence, has been around for over 24 years, located here in Bloomington, right by the Mall of America. Now, that could be potentially, as far as using the markets during working years or during those retirement ages, and you help those people, I guess, help with plans and guidance as far as what might make sense for your investment decisions. What's the main thing that you're focusing on right now to help people do that?
Well, the number one thing to remember is that everybody is unique, so it really starts with identifying what your financial objectives are, what your financial needs are, and what you want your financial future to look like. Really start with that endpoint. What do you want the future to look like? You really can't have a good opportunity of getting there unless you understand what it is. Then we can help identify the right path to get there. So maybe the first question people should ask themselves is, why are you listening to this show? Do you feel that trading and investing in the financial markets is an answer or partial answer to your financial issues now? And it really starts with the proper knowledge and how and when to use that knowledge. The proper knowledge comes from proper education. And really what that is, it's just learning what works, what doesn't work, and why. And if you think about it, if your investing decisions are not based on knowledge, what are you basing them on? Is it, hope? Is it somebody else's opinion? And then you have to consider, where did they get that opinion? What is their bias? Where does that bias come from?
That's one of the big ones, is people take investment and advice from their friends or a family friend or someone that really doesn't have the proper skills either.
Yeah, some people come across like they know a lot, but they really don't. I mean, if think about where the sources of financial education are. What are they? You're not getting it in high school. You're not getting it in college. A lot of people maybe look at YouTube or maybe a seminar or, how to invest for dummies, something similar to that. And then they form opinions, biases based on something that they think should happen in the market. And the market doesn't care what you think or I think. It's going to do what it's going to do. The important thing is you understand how to be able to react to what it's doing. And I think it's important to remember that you're the only person who can control your finances without a conflict of interest. If you give your money to someone else to invest, somebody who gets paid to do that, there is going to be conflict of interest. They have a responsibility to their company. They have a responsibility to their pocketbook. And if you think about it, if you went to maybe 10 or 15 different financial advisors, you would not get the same advice from all 15 of them. If there was one right way to do it, everybody would give you that same advice. So a lot of it is based on their opinion and their bias. You're the only one that can really pay attention to your assets, control things when you want them controlled in the right way for you. Again, you're unique, and everything should be structured specifically for you, not for everybody in general.
Yeah, everybody is unique because they have different objectives as well. I mean, if you think about it, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe even 50s, you're in that accumulation phase, you're building accounts, hopefully. Well, when people are in their 60s and 70s, they are usually in that distribution phase. So there might be different techniques and strategies that you may need to do or apply within the market. The best thing about understanding and how to do that is you control those decisions, which is basically being the steward of your own money. But you have to react properly to the financial markets based on what it is doing. We kicked the show off. It was down percent this week.
Mhm.
That could be potentially a lot of people losing money in those directions
Absolutely.
unless you know how to short the market, which is benefiting in a down market, which is a concept that might be new for some people. And we'll cover that in the next couple segments here. So Al, we have a lot of listeners that do have different objectives. They need help to discover what those objectives are in I guess, their financial goals, but how to attack that properly. So I want to invite everybody to an investing class that Al teaches right here in Bloomington that goes over some of those different techniques. Really, if you need to discover those techniques that the professionals use, Al covers all that in these investing classes. So callers 1 through 10, when you call in right now, you're going to receive 2 tickets to this investing class. Also the financial quick start kit, which will help you get started right away. 952-814-4410. That's 952-814-4410. I'm also going to make it easy. You can also text the word invest to the number 484848. You'll receive a text back with a link to register for this free class and the quick start kit. Al, what's up next?
Well, to be properly prepared, you have to be aware of what could impact the markets, whether it's good or bad. So we're going to talk about one of the things that people are concerned about now, inflation. Are we in an overvalued stock market? And then also, what can we do about these things?
How to prepare for all market conditions. Once again, for 2 tickets, 952-814-4410. This is Josh and Al, Investing with Confidence. We will be right back. And we are live, so we will be answering any questions here on the live YouTube stream. For those of you on the podcast, you can also put some questions in there, I believe, as well. We'll be back in 2 minutes. We will be back shortly. Wonder if anybody likes my sound effects.
I do. Okay.
And we'll do something funny here, and sounds like the Brady Bunch laugh.
Isn't that our audience?
Well, could be. 10 seconds. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Investing with Confidence. As always, I'm your host, Joshua David. Having a great time on this beautiful day talking about financial markets, which might be the stock market, the options market, futures, Forex, but also how we can help investors based on different objectives that they do have for their financial needs to make better investing decisions. If you happen to miss 2 tickets for the investing class, call 952-814-4410. You can also text the word invest to the number 484848. You'll receive a text back with a link to register for the free class. So, Al, as you wanted to get into this next segment, we have a lot of things, we'll call it things going on in the world. You have inflation going on, and it's causing a lot of ruckus in these financial markets. So we're seeing more and more people want to be able to prepare for, I guess we'll say, any market condition. So what are some of the things that you're doing right now to help people prepare for those, I guess, markets that you could be going up, but also to prepare for markets that are going down,
Right.
and do that with consistency?
Yeah, well, the important word you mentioned there a couple of times is prepare. It's preparation. You need to be prepared, because the market is not going to give you a phone call and tell you what it's going to do for the day or the week or the month.
Are you sure?
Well, I have yet to receive a phone
I
call
was
like
on speed
that.
dial.
Yeah, well, you let me make me the first person you call after you get that call. But it's not going to do that. So you just need to be prepared. So you should never have a situation arise where you don't have an answer to what's happening and how to react to it. That's all part of a plan. But we mentioned the fact that there are things that are happening in the economy right now. We still have the coronavirus issue. That's kind of kicking its heels up again. And then also inflation. And that's really caused a lot of big moves up and down over the last few weeks or the last month or
We've
so.
seen it on Friday, how much it dropped on Friday,
Yeah.
towards the end of the day even.
Exactly. And, fortunately, or hopefully, I guess I should say, we learn from history. And history is full of examples of countries that have been devastated because of inflation or hyperinflation,
Yeah.
where their currencies become worthless, or their prices have doubled every 15 hours in one case, and 24 hours in another case.
So
and-
how do we prepare then? How do you help your listeners and really the people coming to Online Trading Academy prepare for stuff like this?
Well, first of all, you have to understand, what causes it, and then and also understand that there are companies that will benefit in high inflationary periods. There are companies that will get punished in high inflationary periods, and the converse is also true. Low inflation, there are going to be investments that do better. There's always going to be the right investment for and the right strategy for what's happening in the economy. But right now, you have to remember that the government is printing money like crazy. Companies are borrowing like crazy at almost zero interest rates. And then also, we still have high unemployment, but a whole lot of money in the economy fed into the economy by the Fed. So the productivity is not there. High wages can be okay as long as there's productivity there to justify it, but that's not the case. So inflation could be an issue. So it's really important to understand how to take advantage of that. Use that as something that's good. Sometimes people say, well, the market's really good or the market's really bad. There really isn't a bad market. It's just a good market in a different direction. And then is the market overvalued? Well, the indicators that people use say that it is. It's a highly overvalued market, and that doesn't mean that it's not going to continue to go up. It means that you just need to be careful, because if it does roll over again, you're not going to get a phone call. At some point in time, as always has happened in the history of the markets, we'll have a correction or a bear market, which is a great opportunity if you have the right knowledge, the right education, to look at that as a potential profitable direction for you. If you can't take advantage of that, or at least be protected, so you don't let a 5% or 10% or 50% correction in the market siphon money away from you.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about inflation. I mean, we were talking about this earlier last week. Last weekend, I was at a dinner in St. Paul, and a dinner for two. I mean, think about this. A dinner for two was almost $300. Now, that is inflation at its finest.
Yeah.
Everything is going up right now.
10 lobsters, though, Josh.
Hey, I do like to eat, I'll tell you that. But, I mean, granted, it was a nice restaurant,
Yeah.
but it was much more expensive than what you would typically think.
Yeah. Well, you have commented in past sessions about how you thought I'd been working out.
Yeah?
And I really started buying into that, because last time I went to the grocery store and I was carrying my bags of $100 groceries out. It was much lighter than the same $100 was buying me a year ago. It wasn't me, as I found out.
You thought you weren't just working out and getting stronger?
No, its prices are higher and there's less food in the package.
Yeah, exactly.
Inflation is here. Have you filled your car up with gas recently?
Yeah, almost $3 a gallon here.
Absolutely. That's inflation. So don't look at a situation that on maybe on some of the public media and maybe the social media sites that they're telling you that this can be a bad thing. It's just be prepared to look at it as a good thing, just investing in something that can take advantage of whatever the situation
Yeah,
is.
that's why you don't want to be a victim of what's happening. That's why we prepare was that word I was talking about at the beginning of the segment is preparing for any market condition because you said Al said markets are at all-time highs. So is now the right time to be buying and holding at extremely high prices in the market? You need techniques and strategies for shorter term strategies that might be able to be used now for later. And Al, you teach all this stuff. You talk more in depth, what some of this inflation could cause in the markets, especially like for people's retirement accounts, what could happen there in the future. So I want to invite people to an investing class right here in Bloomington. They're only 2 hours. They're free. And Al goes into many different topics. Some of the main ones, how to manage risk and navigate these volatile markets. How to time the market by letting price come to you, but also our step-by-step rules-based strategy for trading any asset in any market. So callers 1 through 10, when you call in right now, you're going to receive 2 tickets, one for you and one for a friend. The number is 952-814-4410. That's 952-814-4410. You can also text the word invest to the number 484848. You receive a text back with a link to register for the free class. Al, with markets at all-time highs and, now might not be the right time to buy stocks because, there's a high chance, if you look at the Buffett indicator, that they might be going down. We don't know that, but you want to prepare, there's that word again, for that. So what are some of those, I mentioned those shorter-term strategies that people can utilize as you're waiting for low prices?
Yeah, let me comment on the Buffett indicator there, because I mentioned there were several indicators that are showing this market is overvalued. The Buffett indicator, we call it the Buffett indicator, is what he thinks is the single most important indicator showing if the market is valued properly or overvalued. It's now possibly at the highest it's ever been, or certainly the highest it's been for many, many years, to the point where he is just pulling back. He's sitting on over $2 billion in cash waiting for the market to become more properly valued.
Yeah, think about that. If one of the best investors ever in the history of the markets is waiting for lower prices, now think about that for a second.
And here's the other thing. A lot of people like to follow what Warren Buffett does.
Yeah.
So they're going to wait, and when Warren Buffett says, I took a position in X stock, or I took a position in Y stock, what's the problem with that?
He's done taking that position. He's already got into
the
it.
position. What we would like to do, and wouldn't this be more important, is to know when he's going to start doing it, and he will probably have to do it in increments because he might invest billions of dollars in one position, can never get that filled at one time, so he does it incrementally. That's what allows us to take advantage of. Remember, I think I said last week that the secret to the market is there's no secret to the market, but the closest thing is that price simply moves between demand areas, and that's an area where there are buyers, and sell or supply zones or areas, and that's where there are sellers waiting to come into the market either with a short position or getting out of something. It's finding those positions, which is important. It's finding where people like Warren Buffett are going to be buying in the future, where they're going to be selling, and then you can be positioned to take advantage of what they're providing for us.
Yeah, and we talk about it every single week. We want to trade like the big banks and the institutions, the Buffetts of the world, not against them. So that's why you need strategies that are designed to do that, strategies for any market condition. So that way we're not stuck to just a buy and hold, a buy and hope. So that way understanding how this works, how to utilize strategies no matter which way this market goes. Great opportunities. Al, I kicked the show off. It was a great week this week. People are probably scratching their head and it was down 1%. That's actually really good. We encourage people to understand and learn these techniques, learn shorting. Basically what shorting means is being able to benefit in a down market. So we know as markets go up, there's profit there. There's actually profit as markets go down. That's called shorting. And Al, you talk a lot about that in these investing classes. So that way people aren't stuck to just a one directional strategy, not just up, because we know it doesn't go up forever. Learn those strategies for sideways markets, but especially down markets. which could be potentially one of the best opportunities that we'll ever see coming up in our lifetime.
Right.
So callers 1 through 10, I want to invite you to this investing class that Al teaches right here in Bloomington. We're next to the Mall of America. And in these classes, he talks about, concepts like how to buy at wholesale and sell at retail, just like the financial institutions do, or like Warren Buffett might be doing. If he's holding cash right now, you might want to wait until price gets lower, like he's doing. You got to understand what that potential might be. So callers 1 through 10, when you call in right now, you're going to receive 2 tickets for this investing class. Also, the retirement planner. I'm going to give that away. There's a couple topics in there. There's bond strategies, but also I think the big one is your 401k keeping up with your age? Call 952-814-4410. That's 952-814-4410. If you want to discover those different techniques that the professionals use. Al, what do you got coming up next?
Well, let's talk about why the financial knowledge you have just might be the knowledge that's not in your best interest.
Interesting. Something that we may be told to do, but not what other people are doing with our accounts or their money. Once again, for 2 tickets, call 952-814-4410. You can also text the word invest to the number 484848 for 2 tickets for the investing class. We'll be right back. How much time do you say?
Okay.
Welcome back to Investing with Confidence. I am your host, Joshua David. If you're just tuning in, Al was shedding some light on different techniques that we might be able to use for many market conditions. We have inflation popping up, and that's a big talk. The Fed was talking about that, or actually it was the Janet Yellen was talking about that on Friday, which I think that might have been what dropped the markets towards the end of the day. But how we can use techniques and strategies to invest like the banks and not against them. If you happen to miss 2 tickets for the investing class, call 952-814-4410. These classes are free here in Bloomington. You can also text the word invest to the number 484848. So Al, as you kind of wanted to get into this next topic, here's what I got out of that, is how to be flexible in the financial markets. No, we're not talking about yoga, but how to be flexible in the markets for all market conditions. So, what do you mean by by being flexible in the stock market?
Well, being flexible means that you are able to look at what is happening in the economy or the markets, and then maybe change the things that you're doing. Have the ability, but to take advantage of the assets that are that are benefiting whatever that current market condition might be, which means you have to have the knowledge. You have to have that knowledge before it happens. But you mentioned Janet Yellen.
Yep.
What we're seeing right now, you got people like Janet Yellen and Jerome Powell whose words, an individual word or an individual sentence, can move this market significantly. We see that usually when the Fed meets, or usually when a Fed, like Powell, makes a comment. It moves the market quickly. But here's the thing again to remember, and this is probably the most basic part of trading and investing that's important. Price only goes up when there are more buyers than sellers, and price only goes down when there are more sellers than buyers. When Yellen and Jerome Powell or anybody, maybe even Warren Buffett, makes a comment that moves the market, it's just moving it quicker into one of those areas where the buyers are or the sellers are.
Which is what you want.
That's a good thing
Yeah.
for us. It just means there are more opportunities for us, especially if you are looking for, looking at your short-term needs. If you have short-term financial needs, that cannot be accomplished by something that you are told you have to hold on to for decades. I mentioned kind of leading into this section that we would be talking about the knowledge that you have that might not be the best knowledge for you. And when you think about it, where do a lot of people get their knowledge? It's from Wall Street.
Yeah.
It's from the big institutions. And they don't trade like the public. But what they do is they teach the public how to trade. And who's typically on the opposite side of a trade from the institutions?
That's Wall Street.
It's the public. It's the public. And so why would they teach you how to beat them in their trades and investments?
I want to cover that for a second, Al, because we're so conditioned, people are so conditioned, our listeners are so conditioned to do things like that. So, and they feel like, okay, I'm getting advice from Wall Street or advice from my broker or my advisor. Just so you guys are clear, they have an agenda as well. I mean, some people, the people are great. The business is not set up for the client, in my opinion.
Well, it's. I mean, when the companies like Goldman Sachs were put together, a group of people did not get together and say, let's do something that our only consideration is the benefit of our clients. We don't care about the bottom line. We don't care if we make money or not. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So they have a bottom line that they have to be responsible for.
You know what a good example of that is? Moving from pensions to 401ks, because it took the responsibility off the company.
Right. It took the responsibility off the company, and it really it almost forced people to put their money into probably the most profitable product on Wall Street, which is mutual funds. The mutual fund industry just exploded when 401ks were introduced. And what a great thing for a company to be able to put you into something that they get continual fees out of, but really do very little, if any, work with. I mean, it's
great idea.
That's part of that buy and hold long-term strategy, where they will, the little bit of work they put into the upfront part is saying, here's a list of mutual funds that you can invest in, and then you hold on to that through market corrections and crashes, because they tell you the market always comes back. And it does, but it might take 10 years or 15 years or 5 years for it to come back. That's lost time that you don't have. And one of the reasons that buy and hold works so well for these companies is that if you are buying and selling individual stocks on a regular short-term basis, there's a whole bunch of paperwork that companies have to go through every time there is a buy and a sell. With the buy and hold strategy where you're holding on long-term, that's not the case. Plus, it keeps you in the market. And why do they want to keep you in the market?
It's that 4-letter F word.
Which is fees.
Yeah. It wasn't the other word.
No.
Guys.
Let's keep it clean here.
PG.
It's fees, which is it's a huge part of their profit, and it's a huge part of what takes away profits from you. And when you think about it, everybody who is using a financial advisor, I shouldn't say everybody, but the majority of people that are using a financial advisor are really kind of in a one position kind of an investment. It's a bullish investment. It's a buy only investment, really not considering how to do the same thing in a down market that you have the opportunity to do in an up market, and that is be profitable.
Yeah, Al, the great thing is a lot of our listeners do have 401ks and IRAs, and some of them just want to have a better conversation with their broker.
Sure.
Right. And they want to understand, okay, what are the right questions to ask? Am I being protected in these financial markets? Are my stock positions or my mutual funds protected? And we can talk about that in the next segment if they are or are not, or they even have the ability to do that.
Right.
But I think more and more people that we're talking to just want to improve their overall financial literacy. I mean, understanding different strategies to increase whatever you have in declining markets. It's a new concept for some people. And I guess you unpack that, and people are discovering that in these investing classes that you teach right here in Bloomington. They're only 2 hours, they're free. And, with Al's experience, especially with retirement accounts, might be able to say, hey, I can have a better conversation with my broker.
Right.
So callers 1 through 10, I want to invite you to this class. Call right now for 2 tickets. You're going to receive that plus the retirement planner. That will actually help you get started right away, especially if you're brand new. Call 952-814-4410. That's 952-814-4410. You can also text the word invest to the number 484848. You'll receive a text back with a link to register for the free class. Also, to find the retirement planner. So, Al, with everything that's happening with 401ks, IRAs, and people wanting to have a better conversation with their broker, we do have people that want to have more say or more control of what's happening with them, and really what that is self-directing their life savings. Because if you're going to be the best steward of your money. Learn those techniques, learn those strategies, but the big thing is have the proper tools to make those decisions. So how do you help people self-direct their own accounts and also have those tools to make better investing decisions?
Well, yeah, it starts with showing them what those tools are and what you can do with those tools. Because people, and this is really frustrating for us, we see people come into these classes all the time that for years have just been invested in something that provides no protection for them. When you're in retirement, I just talked to somebody this morning who was 70 years old who was so concerned. He said, look, I don't want to have to start over again. And at that age, it's pretty hard to do that. He's worked probably 40 years, put aside some pretty good, a pretty good amount of money in a 401k, but there's no protection there. And we see this all the time where people went through 2008 or 2000 thinking they were in great shape before that time period happened. And then all of a sudden they found themselves with maybe 30 to 60% less money than they had before those corrections began.
Yeah, I want to just say something real quick, Al, because some people say, they're afraid of down markets, which most people are, and they say, well, I guess I'm just going to have to take that hit. Do you have to take hits in your retirement accounts? Not
only do you not have to, you shouldn't. If you're taking a hit in a down market, bottom line is that's your responsibility. You're making that decision, that choice, because the other choice is available. There is education, there's knowledge, there are assets and strategies that are specific to providing benefits in a down market. Most people I mentioned before, they're in that one way, a one direction kind of an investment, which is bullish, which is only going to give you the opportunity to beneficially participate in an up market. That's only 1 out of 3. The market goes up, it goes down, it goes sideways. There are opportunities and strategies for all of those directions which you have access to. You just haven't been educated on what they are or how to use them. That's what we do. Help us not be frustrated. We don't want to see people coming in saying, look, I was in great shape a few years ago and now I'm not. What do I do? We can help you, but better that you learn how to be prepared before something like that happens. There are going to be what you might consider negative time periods in these markets. We just look at them as good opportunities in a different direction. In these classes, we talk about how you can take advantage of them, how you have the opportunity to be protected and to benefit regardless of which direction the market is going.
Al, I feel like you've been watching a lot of movies. Have you been watching Jerry Maguire?
Not for some time,
you,
but,
right?
But no, I see this way too often, Josh, where people are suffering in a market that has just been on fire
Yeah.
because either too many fees are being taken away from them, or they're put into assets that aren't really benefiting them for what their unique needs and aspirations are.
Yeah, there's a lot of listeners, probably, people sitting at home right now, or maybe even driving right now, that they don't want to be missing out on these opportunities. But I think what you just mentioned there too is help minimizing their fees. If you don't want to miss out on these opportunities, or if you want to learn how to minimize your fees in your retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, 403bs. Al teaches investing classes here in Bloomington to get you started to make better investing decisions. So callers 1 through 10, you got to call now. I'm going to give you 2 tickets for this investing class. I'm also going to give away the financial quick start kit. So if you're new to the markets, which is a great thing, that'll help you get started right away. Call 952-814-4410. That's 952-814-4410. You can also text the word invest to the number 484848. You'll receive a text back to register for the free class plus the financial quick start kit. Al, what do you have coming up next?
Well, you know what? I want to talk about what the majority of people out there have said would have helped them with their finances through the pandemic.
Got it. Things that may have helped you through that pandemic, but now is the time to make sure that does not happen again. Once again, for 2 tickets, call 952-814-4410. You can also text the word invest to the number 484848. This is Josh and Al, Investing with Confidence. We will be right back. Two and a half minutes, and we'll be back. $25, you said? Okay. Call Big Lou. I love that. Any questions on the live stream? We'll be back in about a minute here. It's kind of loud, huh?
This is very loud.
Wonder if I can turn that down. There we go. No, it doesn't blow your eardrums out.
Of course, what people can't see is that was a standing ovation we just got.
Well, on the YouTube stream, they could see that. What did you say at the end there? What do you want to talk about?
What one thing people felt would have helped them?
Aspen. Is that a chain? Aspen Dental? I think Aspen Dental is a chain. Isn't it? I feel like I've seen that somewhere. We'll be right back here in 10 seconds. Welcome back to Investing with Confidence. I am your host, Joshua David, having a great time in studio with my good friend and my good pal, talking about the stock market, whether you have 401ks, IRAs, but we want to make you and help you make better investing decisions within them. If you happen to miss 2 tickets for the investing class, call 952-814-4410. I'll also make it easy for everybody. Everybody texts these days. Just text the word invest to the number 484848. You'll receive a link to register for the free class. So, Al, as you know, we had this thing this past year, so that a lot of people are struggling from it, and I don't want to get too deep into what it was because we know what happened in the last couple of years here.
Mhm.
Now, there was some things that could have helped people during that time, right? Now, what is the best time to, or I should say, when is the best time to prepare for something?
Well,
It's
yesterday?
yesterday. The second best is today,
Today.
right? So, what is that thing that could have helped somebody during the last year and a half or so, but still now is the time to learn what that may be,
Yep.
so that way you're not stuck in that same situation.
Yeah, well, and it comes as no surprise to us, but this was the results of a study done by D.A. Davidson looking at over 1,000 adults in this country, and they said that the one thing that would have helped them is more financial literacy education. And in that study, of all of the different financial topics that were questioned, the number one thing that people said they knew the least about was investing, and that
amazing.
could have helped them the most had they known that. Well, and that's, for 24 years we've been addressing that issue. So you can't say that the availability of that education is not there. It is. That's what we provide. But it has to be unique to you. And there's a lot of kind of prepackaged things out there. People look at things on YouTube or maybe go to a seminar, typically concentrating on one particular type of strategy. There is no one size fits all. Everything should be customized to each person because they're unique. They have unique talents. They have unique requirements. They have unique risk factors. All of those things should be part of a plan that's put together for you.
Yeah, and if you're listening right now, if you're at home listening, or maybe you're driving in your car, probably going up north or something, you're in the same boat with a lot of people. Well, now is the time to get out of that boat. Don't let that burning boat continue to take you down. So learn those techniques and strategies. So what do you think? What is the best? We know that you need financial education, but you got to act on it, right? So it takes some skills, right? We talk a lot about supply and demand. You talked about that in the first segment about where the buyers are, where the sellers are, but how to make decisions to trade like them. Where do you find that information? I know you talk about that and show that in the investing classes, but just give a little teaser on where people find that. And I want to invite people to this class to see what that, how to, I guess, take that into action.
Yeah, what I was saying is that the way that you really take advantage of price movements is to be positioned before the price moves. And I know people, and you should be skeptical about somebody saying something like that. One of the things that we do in these classes is prove to you that we have a strategy, a foundational investment strategy that shows you how to do that. What is it? It's timing. And what have you been told? You've been told you can't time the market.
Who says that?
Who has told you can't time the market? Is
the
people
person
that
managing your money.
Right. It's the people that can't have you timing the market because then you don't need them. Or it's somebody that doesn't know how to do it on their own.
That's the same thing as Tom Brady telling his backup, you can't play football. Why? Because he doesn't want him to take his job
position.
and make his salary.
Right.
Same concept, right?
Yeah,
So how do you get that across to people so they understand that, though?
Well, we show them, come in and challenge us to show you how we do that. It's a strategy. We call it core strategy. It's proprietary to OTA. 24 years we have been putting that together. It really was structured by people that worked on Wall Street. It's not really rocket science. It's just understanding that what moves the market are unfilled orders in a large quantity that either come in as a buy or as a sell. And as I mentioned, price simply just moves between those two levels, between the buyers and the sellers. So you want to make sure that you're you're positioned to be into a trade or investment before everybody else comes in, because then it's too late. Then you've missed a good part of the move. Our goal is to help you identify, number one, a quality entry where you have a high probability of it succeeding, the odds in your favor of it succeeding. It's a low-risk entry, but it also has a high profit potential, because the real key here to being successful is not how often you're right, it's how right you are when you're right.
Correct.
In other words, the reward compared to the risk. That's more important than the wins compared to the losses. And that's one of the things that we show our students, how to concentrate on that and how to learn to do this as our name implies, with confidence,
Hmm.
but consistently. Do it, be able to benefit yourself consistently. To be able to do that, you have to be able to find something that happens on a repeatable, reliable basis. That's what the institutions are providing for us, the big pros, the smart money. They're providing that opportunity for us. We just need to be prepared to just follow what they're doing.
Yeah, and that is that core strategy that Al introduces people, introduces really you that's listening right now. If you're at home right now, introduces you to these, the techniques and strategies, or that proprietary strategy that's designed to teach you to make better investing decisions. I mean, because the fact of the matter is, and Al had, I don't know where the article was from, but it's how to potentially improve your financial literacy. If you're in that boat, well, now's the time to get out of that boat and get going. Call 952-814-4410 for 2 tickets for this investing class. Covers our step-by-step rules-based strategy, which is that core strategy for trading any asset in any market. 952-814-4410 for 2 tickets. I'm also going to give away something different here. I'm going to give away a free crypto course. Cryptocurrency is that new topic that everybody's talking
Right.
about. What it actually is, what the blockchain actually is. I'm going to give that away, so everybody that attends and calls in or texts in right now for this investing class will also receive the cryptocurrency course when you attend. You can text the word invest to the number 484848. So, Al, we have listeners that are brand new to the market, which is great. We have listeners that are at home that are probably invested in the market, 401ks, IRAs, and maybe don't feel like they're in the market, but they actually are.
Right.
And they want to protect their positions. They want to protect and grow so they can get to that promised land. Where's that promised land? That is that retirement age. Some people say, hey, I will never retire. I never want to retire. Is that because you know or you feel like you may never be able to do that? The good thing is some people just want to stay sharp. Some people want to be able to have something to do rather than just, you can only read so many books and watch so many episodes of Matlock, right? How do you help people get started? Because you have to learn the techniques, the core strategy to get started, but also opening accounts and stuff like that. How do you help people really do that if they've never done this before, which is great?
Sure. A lot of it is the kind of the mechanics of trading and investing. We go over that. That's the easy part. The next step is to control your emotions so you can use the mechanics that we teach you, because there's 2 components, I think, to any trade or investment. It's the mechanical part, setting things up, and then it's the psychological part. And that's the part that hurts people the most, is they become their own worst enemy. You are, as a human being, you have emotions that are going to have you doing the wrong thing. So, and you mentioned before, the important thing is a rules-based strategy. That plan, that core strategy, has a set of rules that you follow, a step-by-step process that you use for any trade, any investment, regardless of what it is, and regardless of whether you are trading every day or maybe only making one investment a year or every other year. And that's what kind of helps to keep this simple, or simplifies it, is to follow that set of rules, making it more methodical, taking your overthinking out of it and the fear out of it, because fear is what really has a huge impact on you negatively. Fear of missing out or fear of losing. You can really mitigate that if you just follow a set of rules that have been shown to be effective on a consistent basis.
Yeah, and fear actually makes people poor. What poor really means is passing over opportunities regularly. And now it's getting close to the end of the show, and we still have listeners, and we've had a lot of people call and text in on this show here today. A lot of people are getting started with their journey in the financial markets to have more financial literacy. I want to invite I want to give away one last set of tickets to this free investing class right here in Bloomington. They're only 2 hours. Al teaches these. 952-814-4410. If you want to build the confidence to learn where to buy and sell, you can also text the word invest to the number 484848. You'll receive a text back to register for the class. We might even give you a quick call to see what you're hoping to learn. Al, as I promised in the beginning on the first segment, you have an OTA tip of the week. Let's hear it.
Well, what you're going to find is that there's a relationship between what you know, how much you know, and how consistently your successes are. The greater your financial and investing knowledge, the greater the number of possibilities that there are for you. So if you accept the fact that the greater or more investment knowledge you have, the greater the opportunities for success are, The sooner you achieve that knowledge, the more value it's going to provide for you. You can't experience true freedom if you're dependent on someone else's experience and knowledge for your financial well-being.
That really everything that he said there really comes down to taking action and not pass over those opportunities. Get started and do that today. Once again, one last set of tickets for the free investing class to cover the financial markets, the stock market, options, futures, and Forex. 952-814-4410 or text the word invest to the number 484848. As always, same time, same place right here on WCCO. Retire young, my friends.